Hello, Armenia. How are you this morning? Good? All right. So, we've been at various stages around the world, Affiliate World, Affiliate Summit, and a lot of other stages, and it's our first time here, and we are pretty excited to be here. I understand that a lot of you guys don't understand English that well, so we'll go as slow as possible.
Yeah.
All right.
And we are here because we have done something that we were not able to do in the past 14 years. We've been doing media buying since beginning, but this year we crossed $10 million a month and doing that consistently. And that gave us a very different experience, and we are here to share that.
All right, but before we go there, I'd like to share with you about us. So I am Rohit Ajmani, and this is my co-founder, Sahil Walia. We have been into the performance marketing spectrum for the last 14 years, and we do a wide variety of things. We do lead gen, paper calls, search arbitrage, Nutra, and even started with casino recently, which is why we are here as well. And we are also speaker at various conferences. We are also investors into multiple startups, and we also have a AI product called FabFunnel, which is a performance marketing software that helps you promote and launch and create bulk ads. So as Sahil was saying, Q1 was our best quarter ever, which was 2 times better than any quarter we had in the past. These are some of the numbers. As you can see, VSL and lead gen were the top performing assets for us this Q1. And we will be presenting a case study on both these topics in the session today. So I hope you guys are ready for it, right? Yeah. So we also received a ClickBank Platinum Plus award, and it took us like 15 days to get there. So, I mean, we're very excited to be sharing all this information with you today.
Yeah.
Over to you, Sahil.
I mean, it looks beautiful to see the results, but when that was happening, it was like a war room for us. Like, at that scale, everything started breaking. And the most important things that broke at that time was, can you go to the next slide? Was tech and operations infrastructure. So average, we were spending around $500,000 a day, and at our best, we spent around $1 million. At that scale, we were dealing with 1,000 plus ad accounts, 5,000 pages, and multiple profiles, and you can say 300 plus people. So our ad accounts were getting rejected, ads were getting rejected. We were getting messages from our agency partners that we need to fix that, otherwise it's going to impact the relationship. And then we had a team breakdown. As I said, we have almost 300 plus people, 75 engineers, 100 plus media buyers and creative people. And all of them, they operate in Indian time zone. And all the media buying was happening in US time zone. So they were burning out. They were working till 6 a.m. in the morning. And they started making a lot of mistakes and started blaming each other. And then the last one is creative saturation. So we were spending at a high scale, and because of that, our creatives were hitting fatigue at super high speed. And the core takeaways from our presentation are going to be how we resolved all these breakdowns by doing these things that we'll explain.
So what did 10 million a month in scale on Facebook expose for us? The first piece is around the tech. So what happened with our tech and operations? How many of you have very frequent ad account bans? A show of hands? Nobody, really? Okay, I see a few hands. Okay, this is a very consistent problem, so I'll talk about that, how we resolve that, and then also how we resolved all the technical roadblocks, the API rate limits, anything related to optimizing 1,000 plus ad accounts in like one central dashboard. All these issues crumbled our tech infrastructure, because last year we were doing like $200,000 a day in spend, and our system was designed for that. But this year we went like 500,000 a day, $1 million a day as well. So when that kind of scale came into the picture, our tech infrastructure started to crumble. And the issues that came were related to optimizing, thousands of ad sets. I mean, at one point we had 1 million ad sets live, so it's crazy. Then dealing with ad account suspensions and optimizing so many ad accounts at once. So there were multiple infrastructure bottlenecks. And because of the slow processing of the marketing API of Facebook, we were running into execution delays. Our rules were not working the way they should. The bulk launching that we were doing to launch so many campaigns, it was hitting a roadblock. And the most important thing, we were not just doing Facebook, although this session is all about Facebook, but we were managing 7+ platforms simultaneously. So managing all of them, getting all of their APIs, everything was a big pain in the ass. And we worked very closely with our tech team, and this is all what our the month of January, February looked like. So many errors, so many different launching issues we had, and then we sat with our tech team and resolved all of these one by one. First issue was the API rate limits issue, and this we were hitting consistently because imagine bulk launching 100,000 ads every couple of hours, and then optimizing, pulling data from Facebook every 5 minutes on an ad level, ad set data, the budgets, bids, everything, every 5 minutes, because at the budget we were spending, we needed to pull data every 5 minutes, and which is why we were hitting roadblocks consistently. So what we did, we created an API optimization stack, and we did something that's called as request batching. So all the requests were sent in batches, so that we were not able to do as many calls as we were doing earlier, and we didn't hit as many API rate limits that we were hitting earlier. Then we got multiple APIs from Facebook through different companies of ours, so that also mitigated the risk. And then we also had multi-account distribution and a priority queue for critical updates. So anything that was critical, that was handled in a priority queue, so that those updates go through the roof and are not stuck in a queue. And because of that, all the automated rules that you see here, they were able to function the way they were. And earlier, some of the rules were not working. That was causing big issues. Then, my most favorite part, the ad account suspension piece. We created a service called Ad Account Health Management. And what essentially this does is, it manages the ad account rejection ratio. So we know a lot of Facebook engineers, and we understand how they've built the backend of their car system at the backend. It's a complicated piece, but it's very straightforward. You need to keep your rejected ads ratio below a certain threshold in your account, in your business manager, to keep the health viable and have less account bans, have more approvals fast, which is exactly what we did. So our system, what it did was any ads that got rejected, it would auto-replace those ads with some different ads which were approved in the past. So our system never had rejected ads, and this would happen automatically. Plus, for every rejected ad, our system would insert 20 cleaner funnels, cleaner ads into the system, which is why the rejected ads ratio would always stay below a certain threshold, and the account suspensions, which was high before, it became very less. So as you can see in the screenshot, we reduced our rejection rate from 5% to less than 1%, and then after that, the rejected ads, the account suspensions were very, very low. And as you can see, we do it on a business manager level, because Facebook checks everything on a business manager, so you need to keep the health of every ad account as well as the business manager. Second thing, we had a dashboard showing us all the rejected ads and the number of times they were rejected. So we could put messages on Slack, automated messages to the teams, not to run those ads or similar kind of ads. So that was happening really fast. And our teams had all the idea about what kind of ads would work and what kind of ads they shouldn't. So that improved our Facebook strategy completely, and it kind of transformed the way we were running Facebook ads. All right, so now the next interesting piece about the VSL case study.
Yep. So how all of that helped us do $1 million profit in VSL. I mean, we've been doing that since January, but we are going to present our case study from the recent month, April. So this is our dashboard from April, and you can see We distributed our revenue across multiple verticals within VSL. You can see weight loss and BizOps is number one, and then rest of the verticals go along with that. And here's the interesting number that you can see on the dashboard called promise. So promise number is something that we plan at the beginning of the month, where we sit together with the team leads and we kind of predict, or you can say promise, what kind of number they're going to do this month. And we were constantly evolving our system, so you can see that we are exceeding what we planned in that month. And before that, how it looks like at the beginning of the month. As I said, we do the meeting and then we sit together, and we kind of start our conversation with this, like what kind of ROI we are looking at, and we look at our previous month's performance, and then we decide what verticals are we going to work on this month. So these are the verticals for month of April, and in what geos we are going to do that testing, and based on the previous results, what media buying strategy are we going to scale on. So in this case, we used bid caps and low budget with $15 to $20 duplicate ABO strategy. And about the scaling strategy, as you saw that we were running multiple verticals, and the strategy that we were using is a low budget strategy. So to be able to spend like millions of dollars, we needed multiple ad accounts. So that's why in the planning piece, we start with 100 plus ad accounts per vertical. And then from our previous results, we saw a better performance from video creatives than images. So that's why the ad mix is like 70% video and 30% image creatives. And the optimization piece, again, from the past analysis, we saw what days are performing better, what hours are performing better. And then, for example, in our case, weight loss, 30% of the gross margin was coming from weekends. So we were deploying our resources accordingly. So we have our media buyers work on weekends, and then we plan our launching, like how many ads we want to launch on those particular days, on those particular hours. And then the creative strategy, this is where we begin. With each vertical, we start with like 50 plus image concepts, 100 plus video concepts every week on highest volume and on this strategy. And based on the outcomes, we keep adding more creatives wherever it's required. So in the cloning strategy, how we do it is, instead of increasing the budgets of our winning ad sets, we kind of start duplicating it across multiple ad accounts. Because if we increase the existing ad sets, then there's a risk of suspension or increase in CPA. And with this strategy, we are scaling it horizontally. So at any given point, we have multiple ad accounts which are profitable. So even if we get some rejection, there is not a sudden drop in the revenue. And these are our few winner ads for weight loss category. This is the image ad, this is the video ad. And you can clearly see the image ad is cheaper and the video ad is expensive. But again, because of the quality and the conversion ratio, video ad is still profitable than images. So,
do you want to be slim? See this.
The real reason Korean women are so skinny and how Hollywood celebs are secretly using it.
This is the gelatin recipe that took me from 198 to 166 in under 4 weeks. And the best part, it's natural, easy, has no side effects, and takes less than a minute to make. Grab a pen and write this down, because in 24 hours...
These are all AI, by the way, the ads. So,
yeah. And Rohit already presented this, but we are number one ClickBank affiliate from the last 3 months. And this is the screenshot from just one ClickBank account. We have others as well.
All right, so moving on to the next critical breakdown we had was the creative breakdown. Because at the scale we were, the creatives were hitting fatigue really, really fast. And there were people who were copying our ads at the speed of light, and then that again caused our creatives to get saturated. So we needed a huge supply of creatives. And that was the biggest bottleneck, because we had a team of 15 creative people, copywriters, and at that scale, having so many creatives becomes a production challenge. So we introduced AI, definitely, at a big scale, and we'll talk about that. But then I'll also talk about some more challenges related to creative, or how do we track because tracking like 20, 30, 50 creatives is easy in a dashboard. But when it comes to like 10,000 creatives in a month, it gets really, really difficult. Because unless you track, you're playing in the blind. It's a game of poker. You don't know which creative is working, which creative. It's all a chance, right? So we wanted to maximize our chances and bring trackability. What kind of hooks are working the way they should? What kind of body? What kind of the checkout or add to cart buttons? Whatever, right? So we wanted to track all of that, and then the creative analysis structure that we had to evolve eventually to be able to cope up with this many huge volume of creative. Then the systems that we built, we built a system which was very proficient for bulk image and video creation and then launching. So you press a few buttons and you can launch 10,000 ads in like 10 accounts within a few minutes. And you can also create ads, you can also duplicate any ad that's working with a click and then launch it again. So these kind of things really helped us. And then for generation, initially, I'll also show you quickly that we used Claude. It's very easy to build on Claude. And then we also built some production agents that took the game forward. This is how our agentic creative machine looks like. I mean, it's very straightforward. These are the different agents that we work with. So there's a creative director agent that sends the request to a researcher agent, and the researcher agent further, researches, sends it back to the creative director approves it, sends it to the copywriter, and then copywriter writes the copy, sends it to the prompt master, who then makes the different prompts for creative generation, which then go to the editor, and then we have the creatives ready to pump out. And these are all tested, validated, because we also have a prompt validator at the very end. So we just built very simple systems initially. This is an example of one of the systems we just built on Lovable. It was very easy to build out. We used all the models in this. And it's, you just train it on your winning ads, and then it will pump out hundreds of different, it has like multiple agents in parallel. One agent goes on Reddit and finds all the pain points. One agent would go on what's trending on Google News. So they would pull out whatever is trending, what are the pain points of the user, what are your winning ads from your ad library or the competitor's ad library link that you will provide it, and it will be able to generate ads in bulk. The golden piece that's working for us really well is story style ads right now. So we trained a section specifically on story style ads, like 1,000+ ads, which is just one image and a long story, like 1,000, 2,000 words. And that works really well because somebody who reads the entire story has given his time and is more liable to get converted. And these story style ads are so easy to produce. I mean, it's really shocking how you can produce like thousands of ads, story style ads in a day, and these do as well as video ads. So that's something that we really worked. And then we also did creative reinforcement. So every creative's performance was put back into the system. So the system kind of evolved. Every time you produce an ad and you tested it, that learning went back, and the learning section of that creative, of the system, it kept on learning what kind of creatives are working, what kind of creatives don't work, everything. So that feedback really helped it. And then this is a very easy way. I mean, you guys can do it with Claude. You just upload a bunch of winning ads and then some guidelines. And there are some Claude skills that I'll provide at the end that you can upload, and then just give it some API details and of Gemini, OpenAI, Cdance, whatever, or connect with Higgsfield, and it will produce ads within minutes like that, just like you can see. And this is all for telehealth, by the way. It's a big category for us.
Right. So a lot of our friends were asking how we are doing this and how we are able to do this much scale. So we started building something for the world, which we call Fab Funnel. So all of that you saw Rohit explaining, you can do that in Fab Funnel. We have Fab AI, and then we have the growth thing as well. So you can go from R&D to creative production to launch to analyze and to scale in the end. And for example, this is one of the tools that we have inside called Video Sage. You upload your winner ad or any of your competitors' winner ad. This will analyze and will tell you why this is winner. It will extract you the framework, the angle, the hook, everything out of it, and even build you a script from it, and ultimately a creative, and then that you can launch and test at like super high speed. This is one of the videos generated by the tool. This is for auto insurance.
Stop scrolling. You are likely paying $200 a month for absolutely nothing. Look at this. Every single envelope. Insurance premiums piling up. This video proves it. Don't let them take another dime without checking.
Last week, my house in Southern California.
And this is for Windows. So, and this is some other image outputs from the tool. So this is for like Medicare, GLP-1, roofing, and a lot of other stuff. So imagine like coming up with thousands of new creatives every single day and launching from one single dashboard. And that is one piece. So launching and, producing and launching is one piece of the puzzle. If you're not able to tell which one is kind of profitable, then it's all useless. So how our creative analysis system is using the data. So we pull data from all the ad accounts, and then it gives us reports and graphs, all type of graphs, where we can see which hook framework angle is working well for us. And after that, it also gives us the post-analysis actions that help our media buyers design better creatives.
All right, so once we were able to resolve the challenge, we were able to do big numbers on lead gen as well, because lead gen is a very, very creative heavy segment. So this is a case study on auto insurance that I'll quickly run you through. So as Sahil mentioned initially, we do some planning at the beginning of the month, and this is how it looked like. We'll work on an ROI of approximately 20%. We'll test homeowners, multi-vehicle owners, because those are the demos that work really well, and the advertisers want that kind of traffic. We'll test married couples. Some states perform really well, so we had a list of which states to run, which states to not run. Then different kind of angles that we had already set up our production team into, like patriotic, veteran, these different angles. So this was the media planning. The scaling strategy, again, was a mixture of bid cap and cloning strategy. Both of these strategies did really well for us. We scaled in 50 plus ad accounts. We had a gross margin of 250K last month, almost $250,000. And we were doing accelerated bid caps. This one strategy worked really well, because on the days where there was less competition in the market, the accelerated bid cap would burn through all your budget, and we run it on lifetime, so the budgets are high, and we're able to get really good returns on certain days. So there is spike in how you get the traffic, but the day you get traffic, it's a lot, and the advertisers love it. So we got about 100,000 conversions. Our top creatives ROI was about 29%, CPC about 1.35, and the major contribution was the accelerated bid cap strategy and the cloning strategy, bundled with a lot of ads that we created through our system. I'll show you some of these. You can see 2 image ads totally created through Claude, and then the middle video ad created through our system.
He looks like a prankster, but he's not. What he did for this family made headlines, as he just exposed a multi-billion-dollar...
So I'll not go further, but just to give you some juice, is that we normally find what ads are viral on Facebook, what ads are viral on YouTube, TikTok, and we extract the exact framework, the exact hook, because something which is already viral, it will work, right? So we have a person who's just dedicatedly, and then we also have an agent that just goes on these different platforms and finds what's scaling organically, and then we extract the frameworks and convert it into an ad. So that's what we do. And then also about the bulk landing page testing, the creatives were figured out, image creatives, video creatives. What was the last piece? Was the landing pages. So then, of course, we built a system trained with 250 plus winning landing pages from the last 14 years of our work, and then also some of our competitors' landing pages. And then we connected Microsoft Clarity into our system, so every landing page's performance went back into the system, and it could get better and better and better and produce really good landing pages at the end. So once we have the winning creative, once we have the winning funnel, except the landing page, then we experiment more on the landing pages just to see how we can increase our ROI. Moving on to the last breakdown.
Yeah, so this was the team breakdown that we had. So I already explained our team works in IST time zone, and they were working in US time zone. So they were burning out, like making a lot of mistakes and blaming each other. So it was kind of became a chaos for us. And instead of working on how to scale even more, we were resolving people issues. And that's why we designed the accountability execution framework, which is kind of internal thing. And I can explain on the next slide, Rohit. So this system basically makes sure that every person is super clear about their accountability, what they need to do, when they need to do. So how the flow goes on, like at the beginning of the month, we do a promise distribution meeting where we tell team leaders like how much number they are kind of supposed to produce, and then they go to their teams and they do the deliverable ideation meeting. So for example, it's like let's say if somebody needs to do 500K gross margin from weight loss, so they will go sit with the team and they will come up with what do they need to deliver by when to make sure that number is done. So for example, it can be 5 creatives by 10th of April. So that's the deliverable. And then once the deliverables are logged, then they again sit with the team and then they do the pathway ideation meeting. So pathway is the direction that they will follow to reach that deliverable. For example, to get 5 winner creatives, one pathway can be make 100 variations of already working creative, and another pathway can be create 50 new concepts and test 100 videos to find maybe 2 or 3 winner. And once the pathways are logged, pathways are assigned to a senior media buyer, and then senior media buyer is accountable to design the actions of that pathway, and junior media buyers, they just execute. They don't do anything else. So that's the structure we started following, which gave us really good results. And this is how it looks like on the screen. This is our internal dashboard. You can see the promises, lead gen, from which vertical, what kind of number they're supposed to do, and this is the creative pathway. So for example, to produce X number of creatives, that is one pathway, test 50 variations, and that's the another one, test 50 new concepts. So that's how it looks like.
And then another small piece of the people dynamics is that we started using Claude to understand how people in our team are performing, provide them feedback. We connected Claude with our Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, all the channels where there is communication. And since every organization is a network of communications, if we alter that, it alters the future of the organization. So as simple as that. And hence, you started using Claude to go and understand the performance of each and every employee in the team, give them critical feedback in real time so they can start improvising on their work. And this greatly benefited us. And connecting Claude with your different messaging channels is like probably a 5-minute job. And then you'll have amazing results to look forward. You can also connect it to your email or whatever, so it can give you a holistic overview about each person of your team. And we have also connected it, by the way, with the system that Sahil was talking about. So we also know the status of the the actions that were supposed to be done by the person. So it's also connected to our task management system. So it really helps, and I mean something that I want. And then you can ask questions to Claude and whatever. You can have reports made for each of your employees. It will also help you during the increment cycle, and these things really help. Yeah. All right, moving on.
And this is FabFunnel that I explained earlier. So we have these features inside it, and many more are coming. So our internal technology system is separate than FabFunnel. So FabFunnel is catching up with what we are doing internally for our media bank that manages more than almost 15 to 20 million revenue every single month. So.
Right. So, I mean, if you want to have a taste of the platform, you can go to fabfunnel.com and sign up.
Yep.
And then I would like to end by saying discipline doesn't scale, architecture does, which is what we built, which is what the whole conversation was all about. All right. Thank you, guys. And you can scan this to get a 14-day free trial of the product as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.